Good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folari. My guest this morning is Chuk Swoko. He's a publisher. Thanks as always for coming on, Chuk.
Thank you for having me.
Indeed, our pleasure. It's the news from East Africa, Tanzania in particular, that John Magufuli, 61, passed on. And that's a bit of sad news there. According to official sources in Tanzania, it was the issue was around heart troubles.
Exactly.
No more than that, heart troubles. And this followed 2 weeks absence from public, and they just didn't know what was going on. Was he ill? In fact, some people had even said before the time, had he passed on or something? But it came out. His vice president, Samia Suluhu, announced that unfortunately the nation had lost. So all flags are flying at half-mast there. They're going to be in mourning for the next 21 days. And it now brings to the fore, according to the constitution of Tanzania, his vice president, a lady, Janet, no, not Janet. I had someone else on my mind. Samia Suluhu.
Samia Suluhu.
She's going to become the president as soon as she's sworn in. And by the way, Janet that I brought into the whole conversation, that's because Janet Mba Afolabi will be joining us. Janet is a journalist. She'll be joining us remotely. Janet, you there yet? Morning, Janet. So,
I empathize with the people of Tanzania. By the way, you know that if you live in the Middle East, if you have anything to do with the Middle East, the news and what happens in eastern part of Africa is more accessible because they are closer to them than those of us that are down here in the West and the South. That's how connected the whole world is. But I think it's at 61. I think it was a premature death, and I thank God that he's been able to do his best for the nation, and it's not a character that I'm very conversant with. But you know how that, not something that you deal with every day and all that. Tanzania has been that democratically stable, if you ask me, and all that. And all the bad news that is coming out of, that used to come out from Kenya, and all the power struggle and all the political upheavals. It's not really, for me, associated with the nation called Tanzania. And we know the great story of Tanzania, the foundation that have been laid by the progenitors of that nation. So I sympathize with the people of that nation and hope that they'll be able to take it to the next level. When this woman is sworn in, I hope that she's able to
there you go.
Provide the leadership. I think that it will be a great time for them to assess the hard work that
exactly. The vice president is his age mate, as a matter of fact, according to reports. She's also 61. We're going to have to see how it works. We're going to have to see how it all works out. Because that's just the way it is. But the other part of the whole story is that the late John Magufuli did have something of a reputation, because there's no dodging it. He absolutely denied COVID-19, the reality of COVID-19, and it just must be said, he actually was counseling his countrymen not to bother with masking. But all of that now to one side. We have to see if that policy will continue with the new, quite frankly, de facto president, Madam Samia Suluhu. In fact, there are even, I'm even hearing that for all we know, she might actually have been sworn in because the constitution in Tanzania says that, in fact, there are those who are saying that she has to be sworn in within 24 days, but then I was listening to a Tanzanian journalist saying that, as a matter of fact, the constitution doesn't stipulate any duration. So, but I mean, the producer.
But there can be a vacuum in the place. Somebody has to provide
exactly
going forward. So whether sworn in or not sworn in, somebody has to, because of the position she occupies, she might just be able to take up that responsibility and leave the people and the other arms of government to interpret the constitution.
And with the situation over there, I wonder, how does a person? it must be difficult because it appears sudden. So it must be difficult there you were doing your job as vice president, and suddenly now you're president. Now, I don't know if it was unexpected. That would depend on Tanzania, whether they knew.
The last 2 weeks probably would have given her, an idea of what's going on. And for you to become a vice president, for you to even be a citizen of a country, you should be prepared for leadership role. It doesn't have to be at the level of being a president or a governor, but being a leader, it can fall on you anytime. Not to talk of when you have become a vice president and all that. Ordinary citizen, like in our country, we should all be prepared to provide leadership. So when it's thrown at you, you can easily take up that responsibility. So there's the issue of preparation. You got to be prepared at all times. So you call on you and you do. So I will be surprised if she's not able to do that. But trust our women. The African woman, she's always been a leader from infancy.
Indeed.
We will provide service for her.
That's an interesting perspective.
Yeah, but
she makes history as the first female president in Tanzania, but not in Africa.
Yeah, but you see the leadership of the woman doesn't have to be. I quarrel with all these, democratic positions and all that. They are always, that's the way they were born. That's the way the woman was born. That's how, when I particularly talk about the woman. In fact, since 2015, I focused on her. If you pick up my magazine, she's on the cover of my magazine, and she's always married. So that we need to begin to emphasize it. It's not about being a president or a vice president or a governor or a deputy governor. It's the fact that the woman is a unique being and that she's been a leader. That's why she's prepared by her mother prepares her. I don't know who prepares the women, her own mother, but the young girl is prepared. I have 3 daughters.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So every time you see them, whether they're in the street, whether in the office or in the House of Assembly or anywhere, that is what they were to provide leadership. What I quarrel with the modern day woman is that some of them who don't understand what I'm saying, constantly seeking visibility, equaling visibility to leadership. The woman is a born leader.
I don't even, you're right. And I didn't, you'll notice that I spoke about a vice president becoming a president. I didn't even go to her sex because it just so happens that she's a woman. She's a vice president.
That she's a woman. A woman who is able to bear a child, have lived with her parents, probably is married and nurture a home and build a home. Come on.
In any case, Sirleaf Johnson was
president. And she's educated.
Sirleaf Johnson was very well educated. Sirleaf Johnson was president. So, there's no doubt. There's no doubt.
If you leave me, this is not a popular opinion that I want to express.
What?
I have always believed that the woman should be left in her natural endowment and role that God gave to her. This thing that we are now pushing, president. I mean, I don't have a problem with the fact that Sirleaf was a president. I don't have a problem that
there are female presidents all over the world.
Yes, I don't think that's what they are called out for. But I know that the woman is called out for leadership. Indeed. So if it happens that by chance she becomes a vice president or a president, it's just an added responsibility. And I think that we should support them to succeed in every role. Every role. Because the role starts from home, where she is a mother to these people who are governors. And you see all our governors. I don't want to reduce this discussion to what I see around here and all.
No,
but that leadership starts from molding that boy child, molding and building a home.
Exactly.
So this is just a reward as far as I'm concerned.
Well, probably a reward that she didn't want, because it has come about.
It might not want it, but if it's thrown at you, there are many people things have been thrown at.
This is what I'm trying to pursue, that there is a competent person there. She just happens to be a woman.
Exactly.
That picture you're seeing there, if the vice president had been a guy, this is exactly the way we'd be. So I don't want to make too much of the fact that she's a lady.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But even in Tanzania, never mind our society or the global society we live in, I don't even think we can say global society, because all over the world there are female, heads of government, all over the place.
Absolutely.
But in Tanzania, listening to Tanzania TV and other stations covering it, going in there, the people of Tanzania, through their reporters yesterday, did admit that it remains to be seen how we're actually going to get along with this situation of a woman leading. Now, I'm just taking from that perhaps the reporter, at least speaking as an individual, was reflecting the fact that ordinarily, if a woman had presented herself because of the society in Tanzania, perhaps she's thinking that she might not have made it simply because she was a woman. Mm-hmm. But here we are, we have a situation where, oh, Madam Samia Suluhu is president now. Never mind how she came about the presidency. She probably wouldn't have wanted to come about it that way, but she is there. And you said the right thing, I think, that most women will sort of say, we can't contradict you. Which women are more than confident.
Yes, they are. It doesn't matter really.
And competent.
It doesn't really matter how she came. If that process that brought that president allowed her to become a vice president, then it means that she earned it. And I think that is something that we can celebrate. Celebrate it within the context of the fact that she didn't just come from nowhere. She must be a married woman. She must be a mother, and she's educated. So all of those things, they add up for me, and that is how I want our women to be treated. Okay. When we give back to them, we begin to nurture them, educate them. Unlike in the past, they told us, oh, a woman's place is no longer in the kitchen. She needs that education for such opportunities.
Okay, you're not taking for granted the fact that she's a woman, because there are places in the world where you won't even bat an eyelid that she's a woman. But you are saying it's something of a big deal, but you want people to see it in a particular kind of way.
Absolutely.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Joshua. Mr. Joshua? Oh, dear.
Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for calling.
And I greet your guest.
Yes.
Morning, sir.
To me, I think we have a global village, which is just one world. Mm-hmm. And all of us seem to be playing the game the same way now. I think it's only in the religious circle that there's so much discrimination against women. And then they get intimidated and are not able to bring forth their capacity. But with what we have now, I think humanity is beginning to win. So that it doesn't matter what your skin is, whether you are the woman or the man, whether you are black or white. We're beginning to see that the content of the individual's character, the capacity, is what should provide leadership. And I'm happy with what is happening in Africa and across the world. Okonjo-Iweala, everywhere. I mean,
exactly.
We are thankful that things are looking up. And I hope the religious community will take a cue from there and stop putting down women.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for calling.
It's
interesting. He mentions Okonjo-Iweala there. Of course, she's a lady. But the point I wanted to make is that Okonjo-Iweala is not there because she's a lady. No. She's not there because let's make quotas.
She's not there because she's a lady. Look, we know we know how she has come into this country.
Yeah.
The number of times she has come into this country to come and serve, and the conditions under which she came to serve. So, for me, she's a man, as far as I'm concerned. It's true. Because if you say that, then
if she's a citizen, and every citizen is entitled
if we follow the argument on the ground, and if I follow what I know mentally about the woman, and if I'm allowed to say what I want to say, let me say it without any contradiction. Why won't we ask her to beg her to come and contest election to come and become our president?
Okay, you're talking about Okonjo-Iweala.
Yes, in 2023. Why can't we? You know why we should? Because except you don't know who she is, or except you are oblivious to her recent elevation and achievement and her attaining the position of Director General of WTO.
I hear you.
Now, if you don't know, go and find out who she is and how in the last opportunity that she came to serve, where the amount of negotiations and amount of money that was spent to send people to go and appeal to her speaking to her boss, her meetings were held outside of school, and how she was embarrassed, and her mom was kidnapped.
But going the lane you're going down the lane you're going. So Hillary Clinton, who doesn't know how competent she is too. So I mean, what I'm saying is that even over there, it wasn't the easiest thing, simply because a lot of people held her sex against her. You know, so that's the point that we're making.
I don't think her case was a case of sex. It was a case of competence among incompetent governors who reigned in her era. It was about greed and corruption against transparency and nationalism and patriotism.
Let me not lose Kesandu, who has called in. Good morning, Kesandu.
Good morning, Uncle Yuri.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning, Mr. Nwoko.
Good morning, sir. Reverend, good morning.
And the Kingsley. I call from YouTube.
Is Kesando a reverend?
I thought it was Reverend Dominic.
No.
Yes. The truth about it is that this woman has been prepared for this tax ahead. She was one time a representative of his people, Madudonchi. She has been a minister. She has actually served in several capacities. So I do not have doubt that she's going to perform creditably well. Unfortunately, this thing has happened. Remember, she has been vice president since 2015. The truth about it is that in the society we have found ourselves, our mothers, our sisters, our women generally are so credible and competent. It is quite unfortunate that the society we belong to seems to be like the man's world. But I want the women to always see themselves that they can. They have the credibility, capacity to do some of these jobs. When they ask for these positions, they should queue behind themselves and get these positions done. Some of the women we have seen in positions of authority have done creditably well. So I encourage the woman to go to Tanzania and do exploits, and I do not have doubt that she's going to perform well. I encourage our Nigerian women, let us seek for positions like this. Who will do well? God bless our women.
Thank you very much for calling in.
And by the way, we're still in the month of celebration of our women, and I don't think it should ever end.
Yeah,
I don't think it should.
It's just that the celebration of women, you're right, but the circumstance. No woman wants to become the principal because of the death of her principal.
Why shouldn't?
You know, what I'm saying is that she wouldn't have wanted it. Mm-hmm. She was in deep mourning like every Tanzanian was in mourning. Mm-hmm. And I think the point that we are sort of, interrogating right now is that in the Tanzanian society, according to journalists who were asked this very question, they said, well, it's something that we're going to probably have to make. We're going to have to make it fit.
They need to listen to what we're saying. These journalists from Tanzania also need to listen to the opinion and discussions.
That was just her opinion. But the society, the society in Tanzania, she was just reporting on this.
But your last caller just told us how that she, and I alluded to what the same thing when I said that. This type of thing does not just fall on you, from the beliefs.
So what you're saying is that
the education,
the people of Tanzania should just
they should wake up,
the parameters and know that she's more than confident.
That journalist is duty of that journalist like you and I to begin to make that kind of strong educational opinion to the people. When a girl child is well educated and well prepared, that when the opportunity falls on her, it should be accepted by society.
Well,
because the same way they have built the home, they will build the society. They don't need much. They don't I do business with women every year. You've been at my event. You know that the reason we do what we do with them is because when you give that woman 10,000 naira, she's going to take it home. But if I give it to you, you're going to first share with your girlfriends and then have a bottle. And
let me
you can feel offended.
You're really championing women here, and
but I've done so.
There's no problem
since
with
2008.
That. Let me hear from Ada in Jos. Good morning, ma'am.
Hello, yes, Mr. Yori, Ada from Jos. Mr. Walker, very, very interesting topic. I'm really
good morning to you.
Let me tell you something. Everybody who is made a vice president should have it at the back of her mind or his mind.
Exactly.
That anything can happen, and she will become the president. Mm-hmm. It's no big deal. It has nothing to do with whether she's a woman or not. It has nothing to do with the opinion of the Tanzania. They have a constitution. Let them go by the constitution. Any visionary leader should have hindsight, insight, and foresight. And I'm sure it's what is driving her. And I wish such a thing can happen in Nigeria. Not necessarily, I'm not saying the president should die, but let us start off in 2023 to have a female vice president. Let us start from there.
Okay.
God bless Nigeria.
Amen.
Let's not give up on this country.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ada, for calling in. And we've been joined by we've been joined by Janet of Faladino. She's on the line. Good morning, Janet. Okay, we can see you, but we still have to worry about the sound. Can you hear us? Because
yes, I can hear you.
Everything is good now. Good morning, Olori Janet Afolabi. That's correct. Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning. Now we're talking about the vice president in Tanzania haven't been thrown up willy-nilly, because that's the law. She was the vice president to the now late John Magufuli, and so she's going to be president. In fact, I think she has been sworn in. I'm not too sure, but that's what we're hearing. So what we're saying is that in Tanzania, it would appear, going by one reporter, he's saying that we're going to have to get used to it, that it's probably not part of their tradition. And so that's what we've been talking about. What do you think? Do you think we have the situation in Nigeria too, where we would look a bit corner eye at the idea of electing a female president? Electing.
Yori, when the time comes, I think it can happen in Nigeria. It can happen in Nigeria because we have a lot of women who can perform very well as presidents in this country. We have seen women who have done so well in their various capacities as leaders in different organizations. And I'm sure that if they contest election and win, they are going to perform about gender. You could be a woman and you perform well, and you be a man, you don't perform well. Mm-hmm. Leadership is about purpose and passion. A woman who is passionate, a woman who is purposeful in leadership will perform better than a man. And you know also that leadership is a trusted privilege given to followers, given to people by followers. So it is really that spirit of leadership that matters. It's not even the gender. But in Tanzania now, with a population of 58 million people, which is not up to Nigeria, and a woman who was the vice president, she has been in that corridor of power for a while. So she's not completely new to power and leadership in Tanzania. Yes. She must have silently been nursing some changes. This is now an opportunity for her to bring about those changes. This is an opportunity for her to fail or to succeed. To talk about tradition, I don't think that tradition comes in here, because it's not a traditional ruling council like our own in the rural community, that my husband is the king. That is not the case, that maybe the husband dies, the queen becomes the king. No, this is not tradition. We are talking about constitution, and the constitution permits that she becomes the vice president. And I'm glad that she's going to be sworn in, or she's already been sworn in. And this is the month of women. So it is a good sign. It calls for celebration that a woman, again in Africa, though she's not the first, but she's among, the first, because it's not every day that we see women who become presidents. So she should be celebrated. Indeed. Women should be happy, and we hope that she will not shut the door against other women. Her performance should be such that when other women arise and say they want to contest, women should to support them and say, we have seen a woman succeed before, so there are chances that this other one will succeed.
Exactly, Janet. And above everything that you say, the very first is that she is qualified. She is highly qualified for that job. Everything else comes under that, including the fact that she's a woman. Qualification first, I imagine. Mazi Okoroafo, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Sayori. Good morning, Barrister Woko. Good morning, Barrister.
Good morning.
Now, Sayori, see, the month of March is good for our women. You see, International Women's Day, Okochi Iweala, and President Samia Suluhu.
Yeah.
I think the month of March, kudos. So we thank God for this month of March. Now, if you go back to history, if you look at the Afro Women Riot and other issues that happened in March, all this happened in March, which means the month of March is special for our women. Now, as you have been having on the Tanzanian journalist, let me give you an instance. When the last president of America, the former president of America was in the office, President Trump, you know that President Trump and CNN, they will not find him very well. Now, President Trump is out. Now, who is out? Biden is in. Now, you have seen what's happening now with the Fox television, with that happened with that's exactly. So, each studio or a journalist has its own perspective in terms of reportage. So let's ignore about the journalist reportage in terms of the Samia Suluhu. But the thing is this: we have to give the woman a chance. At least she has been on board. what we should be expecting is for her to perform credibly, so that it will not be a credit to other women in Tanzania. So that Nigeria finish their own. One, you ask yourself, why is it that when a woman comes on board, people start complaining? Leadership is not meant for men only.
Yeah.
Now, you are sitting there in that studio. You have been doing your job credibly. Thank God for your life. Thank God God is answering. And the question now is, are the men and the women then are they able to help the woman to move forward? You see that now, some women will be sitting down at least to do what the PhD, that syndrome, to pull her down, which is not healthy. What we should do now to pray for her, let her do what? Like today is St. Joseph's Day, the Catholic Church. The men's day today in Catholic Church, St. Joseph, that is today as I'm talking to you. So can we take history about the Catholic Church?
Yeah.
So the men should also pray for the woman to excel.
Indeed.
Thank you very much. Have a blessed day.
Thank you very much, Mazi Okorafor. Because well, if it's a psyche thing, an ego thing with men, which is not exactly unheard of, but the point remains that men are happy with women in all the other areas. There are women fighters, combatants. There are women pilots. There are women everything. No problem there. In fact, people take pride in it. But oh yeah, she's also running the country. Can we talk about that for a while? No, there's nothing to talk about. She's a person, she's highly qualified, and so she's running the country by the mandate of the people, if that is the case. So we need to get to the case where the people do not see between the sexes. They just see a competent person. Were you not the person who brought up Okonjo-Iweala, and all her achievements, and whether go and ask her to come and run for presidency?
Because really, if you look at it, now that you mentioned Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala,
after you mentioned her first,
if you remember,
after we were in Tanzania, and then you brought it to West Africa and mentioned Okonjo-Iweala. Carry on.
Because she just, brings that memory back to me.
Yes.
About opportunities.
Yes, especially against the backdrop of this lady being
is
highly qualified.
Yes.
She's been in the corridors of power and in governance, so she knows.
Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala was around, and she went to see the president. She went to see the people in the National Assembly, and there were statements that came from her. Now, when she was here the last time, she was Minister for Finance and basically a de facto vice president. She was very powerful. That power alone that she had.
This is the knowledge and experience.
Attracted these men that you are describing, to not liking her, and she took off from here. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I hear you.
So, because of the disruptive nature of our politics. Now, the population is small in Tanzania. It might not be as disruptive as we are here.
Okay. Femi in Surulere, good morning, sir, and thank you for holding on.
Okay, good morning. Good morning to your guest.
Good morning.
Yeah, I congratulate that woman for getting to that position. And from time she's succeed, and she's going to be there for some time.
Well, she'll be serving out the remainder of the term of the now deceased president. I think that takes her to 2020.
Hello?
Yeah, carry on, please.
Okay. Then yesterday I called you. I told you that we have armed robbers in town, and we have to drive them out and grant us at least 2 days to discuss this refinery, the repair of Port Harcourt refinery. So please help us to use your platform to drive these armed robbers back to where they come from. So, because I am very much disappointed with the National Executive Council.
Okay.
We have a lot of brilliant and intelligent people in that. And I don't know whether they just go there to go and confer, or they decide, or they discuss the issue of Nigeria and arrive at a very good decision. There are a lot of policies coming from that being of a campaign by that particular council that is very disturbing.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for calling in. So, yeah, my producer tells me that the data I was looking for is 2025.
Okay.
Madam Samia Suluhu. Samia Suluhu.
Is going to be there?
She's going to be there till 2025 because that's the remainder of the term of her principal. Now, of course, one of the other reasons that at least we got to hear a lot about the Tanzanian situation, about the goings on in Tanzania, is in this COVID time, the president was convinced that COVID-19 wasn't an issue that his country was going to take as seriously as others around the world. Now, it remains to be seen what Madam Suluhu, how she is going to go about this whole matter. We don't know if, because let's face it, presidents speak for themselves, and usually the vice presidents don't contradict their presidents. So we don't really know. Now that she is president, we should be towing the line of Mr. Megafuli, or we just don't know.
Yeah, we'll have to wait. But what you must give to the late president is the fact that, as a leader, he recognized that he has a mouth, and that God gave him mouth, and that mouth is to enable him eat, then communicate with citizens. So he spoke to the citizens of his country, or what their attitude should be as regards COVID. And here, we don't have such opportunity here. What we have is a panel or a group of people that have been formed into a committee who now, I think it's weekly or whatever, they tell us what I have my opinion about what COVID is. The man had, and I think we should leave it there and wait until this new president is able to come up with our own position.
Okay. Okay, Janet, I'm going to be coming to you, but let me take this phone call first that also has been waiting. I thought there was someone on the line, or maybe should I just go to Janet straight if there's nobody on the line? Okay, Janet, coming over to you then. I hear that Daniel is on the line. Good morning, Daniel. Good morning, Daniel. Okay, coming over to you, Janet. The whole, as you must have heard, we were talking about the Tanzanian attitude to COVID-19, and that was led mainly by the president. Now that we are going to be having a Madam President, a different person as president, I don't know what you think. First of all, we don't know, as I was making the point that vice presidents hardly ever contradict their principles, so we don't really know what was her thinking, and whether she would take a different route in terms of addressing COVID-19. What would be your summation of that whole aspect?
Okay, there are two scenarios. It's either she follows the footsteps of the former president, or she decides to just start her own. Maybe she didn't even agree with the approach of the former president, so she may want to do something different. So it's either she follows that of the former president, or she does her own. In my own view, I think if she sees that what the former president, his attitude towards COVID-19 was not pro the people, that's in support.
It wasn't the mainstream attitude.
Or majority of the people were. Hello.
I say his opinion wasn't the mainstream opinion regarding COVID-19.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. If she believes that it was not mainstream opinion, then she can now decide to toe her own line, do something very different that will now follow the people's opinion. That will be the majority, what the majority of the people want. She doesn't necessarily have to follow what the former president did. She's now in charge. Mm-hmm. So she has to determine her own ways of survival. She has to determine what to do for her to shine, because this is her own chance to shine. It's an opportunity for her. So what she does will make history for good or for bad. So she should not say because of people's opinion she wants to do what the former president was doing. There is no doubt that there are some things the former president was doing that she will agree with because she has been there in government with him. Indeed. But certainly it cannot be all. There are some changes she would like to bring about. Mm-hmm. Yori, and you know that leadership is not about some people believe that leadership, the title makes the leader. but it's not even the title that makes the leader. The former president may have been bearing the title of president, but he was not a leader. I'm not saying he was not a leader, but I'm just analyzing that the title does not make the leader. So also gender does not make the leader. What makes a leader is the spirit of leadership.
But by the way, our president, in commiserating with them, has spoken of the late John Magufuli as an innovative leader. But Daniel, we have Daniel back now. Good morning, Daniel.
Good morning.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Hello, good morning.
Carry on, please. Go ahead.
Okay. My contribution is that, yes. Good morning, Uncle Yuri. Yeah. Actually, I've been listening to the Olori over there. She has spoken so well of a woman. Yeah. But we should look back even from the beginning when God created the world. Without the woman, the man is nothing. I see credible women as their shoulder where men stand and then perform creditably. Like Olori has said, sometimes a man figure might be there as the president, but when you have a woman as a vice or deputy in so many organizations, the woman is the one carrying out what the man is displaying in the society. Women are good administrators from home, in the life of children, in the life of the men, even in their job out there. Most men presidents back home, it is their wife that is the
real organ of the house.
Should be giving opportunities, especially in Nigeria, president position. I don't see it to be impossible for a woman to put Nigeria back to shape, because women, they are very sentimental. Women are passionate about leadership.
Now, men too can be sentimental now.
She's so deeply passionate about it.
Okay, all right.
She gives out her life. In fact, she believes in her work more than her life. The result, her result. In fact, women should be given opportunity of putting back Nigeria back to shape.
Okay, let's leave it there. Thank you very, very much. If you want Nigeria to get back into shape, according to Daniel, then we have to be looking seriously at putting a woman in office. Just don't waste your vote. I get what you're saying. And indeed, everything you say, really, Daniel, and that has been said, in favor of the woman, I entirely endorse 105%. But some real business. One of the things that Tanzania was also known for was that it refused to relay figures. It refused to contribute to this whole global research effort. As far as he was concerned, that is the late president, there was no such thing as COVID in the country. And in fact, I think they played an old clip where the president had alleged that there are Tanzanians that go abroad to look for this vaccine. And now, if you see any Tanzanian that does have COVID, it is these very unpatriotic, quote-unquote, Tanzanians that brought COVID back. So I just said that by way of background, but also the fact that they refuse to report. They're not reporting. So I don't know. Quickly, so that Janet can also come in on this.
Okay, so what me as a publisher and a writer I have done is to constantly seek knowledge and all that. What has happened is that COVID is a tag name given to this particular virus that is been in the air since 2020, or even slightly before and all that. So it came from the family of the coronaviruses. All the viruses, they all come from that family. Just that when they manifest, they give them a tag. This one was tagged COVID-19. Now, I haven't heard the president say there's no disease or no viruses in Tanzania. What he disagreed with was with this whatever. But I have told you what he has done. What he has done is that as a president of a country and as a leader, he provided leadership by speaking to the people. Now, it might have been wrong, but what I'm saying to you is that what we also have lacked here is that level of leadership. Okay, the president has just described him as a creative man. How did he become creative?
Okay, sorry.
Is it not in leadership?
Sorry for interrupting. Ibrahim in Kaduna, thank you for holding on. Go ahead, please.
Yes. Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir.
I'll swear to your guest over there.
Yes, Jukes. And Janet.
You see, Yes, a new things have come on board. It is very good for our women, because women are our mothers. We just want to give them the support and let them give themselves support in the first place. You see, there are two things involved in leadership. Leadership is, first of all, preparation, and secondly, zeal. And the way I'm seeing this woman, at least, the zeal is there. But I don't know if the preparation is there for her. Okay. But by God's grace, God will give him the zeal and the wisdom to tackle this project on her. Mm-hmm. And again, Nigerian women, this is the time for them to take on leadership. Please, let them not wait for leaders to come. It is still that we first of all push yourself there, sell yourself, then before people will see you and say, yes, you have something to deliver. You see? But, and again, this woman, I can see at least his appearance, he has the enthusiasm. And everything now is with him. With her, definitely is going to make difference for our women to come on board.
All right, I'm going to have to leave it there. I beg your pardon, Ibrahim. I'm going to have to interrupt you, but thank you very much. It's simply because of time. Janet, the point about, you've made that point about, she has to steer her own course. But other aspects like Tanzania refusing to report figures, so there's no data from there. Simply because of the line of the former president that there is no COVID-19 here. That is something that could benefit us all if it changes, isn't it? Janet, did you hear me? Janet?
I didn't hear the question.
Okay. The fact that Tanzania declined to contribute COVID-19 figures altogether,
yes.
If Madam Suluhu now takes a different approach, that is going to be to the benefit of, quite frankly, all of us in this whole effort to put COVID-19 in check, isn't it?
Yes.
So
yes, I think she should take. She should do things differently as far as this COVID is concerned, for the sake of Africa, not even for the sake of Tanzania alone. Mm-hmm. She should take steps that will bring healing, to her country. They should try and galvanize the people, encourage them, and shepherd them into seeing that we come out of this COVID-19
pandemic.
That's what I think she should do.
Okay.
Because this is a great and a very rare opportunity for her to prove herself, and she really has to prove herself.
There's a lot riding on her ascension. Tony in Jos. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, Uncle Yori, I've ate up my credit. Money is difficult to come by now. You understand me? But my position is that thank God we have seen women performing in Africa and in Nigeria. And we have a leadership problem in Nigeria. We have seen Okojo Owana and Amina that is deputy UN. So to me, come 2023, all Nigerians should put sentiment aside and appoint them as president and vice president respectively.
Okay. Thank you very much. It's a very interesting point that you make, because when it's not as if no woman has run for presidency in this country before. Where was this support that I am seeing now, at least within the microscopic sample of people who have called in?
The time hadn't come.
The time hadn't come.
Time into everything.
Oh, now, because of Madam Suluhu, we are differently encouraged.
Well, if we start now in another how many years, the time will actually arrive. But this is a good time to start.
2023, go.
Nah.
It's too early.
Yes.
Huh?
In a disruptive environment and with the insecurity, no husband wants to let the wife into the political foray and all that. By the way, this is a country where if you want to go to a state house of assembly, I remember that I was back in my state to contest an election, and a woman printed a poster. In the night, they went to knock on her door with guns and all these bullets around their neck. They didn't speak much. They just knocked on the door and said, we are here to warn you. We can't warn you. That's the only thing they said to her that night.
Yeah,
and that ended that aspiration.
Exactly.
So your own woman was Minister of Finance here and was organizing the economy and trying to save money.
Okay.
The harassment, you've forgotten how she was
appointed.
beaten up.
She was appointed. That's the big difference.
Sorry?
She was appointed.
How does being appointed, how does being appointed
differ from
and doing
running
a patriotic job differ from?
Without question. Without question. But trying to
being harassed by governors who were against your minister saying and suggesting to you, can we save money that we're making from?
I was relating to the fact that a woman contestant was warned off. That's barbaric is the point I was going to make. That you can't be warning off a person simply because she's a woman. Did people go and knock on men's doors and say, we're watching you? Anyway, sorry, did you want to land? Because, Janet, let me give you the last word because we've got to leave it here. You seem to be
the woman who decided to abandon her political ambition because she was harassed. Maybe she was not determined enough to do it. Because men are also harassed, men are also threatened, men are also killed. So if you are going into politics, you should be prepared for the worst. You should know what you are going in there for. So if they harass you one time and you chicken out, then you are not prepared. Leadership is a calling. It is not a profession.
That's a fine place to leave it. Thank you very much.
It's a calling.
Thank you very much, Janet. Janet Afolabi,
so if you are called, you
journalist.
stay there.
Thank you for joining us on the program this morning. We've completely run out of time, but we do appreciate your making time for us. Janet Afolabi, journalist. And we've got to leave it here. I think
the matter continues.
Well, it continues, but I don't think there's very much more to be said. Women have the right to run for office, and more importantly, they've been demonstrably competent and qualified. As we say locally, up and down.
I think women should raise their sons in such a way that they will respect their sisters and young girls.
Okay, we're going to finally have to leave it there. Chuks Moko, thank you very much for making time for us this morning. So that's our program. Please, I don't know. The other thing we would have spoken about would have been the AstraZeneca thing, but AstraZeneca is back on full stream. Now, have you registered? Have you got your jab yet? And even when you have got the jab, we are told that keep on doing what you're doing. Appropriately distance yourself from everybody. Wash your hands frequently. Mask up. No let up in that regard. Stay safe. And God willing, I'll see you tomorrow on Monday with a fresh edition. I'm Yori Folarin. Have a great weekend.